Deal with issues of insecurity in our localities. It's not a general statement, it's just a random, we are not here for random statements or theories, but how can we look into insecurity in our communities and then deal with them as leaders? The secretaries to the governments of states, they are engine to governments of those states. They coordinate the activities of the state government, including security. Therefore, how do we work together, not only allowing the federal government to take charge of security of the localities that the state and local governments are supposed to take the responsibility? Looking at the security challenges in the country, we know every geopolitical zone has one issue or the other. If you go to the northeastern part of the country, it's the issue of insurgency mainly. You come to the northwestern part of the country, we have this kidnapping and banditry. You go to the southeast, we have the airport and also kidnapping. The airport are even becoming more deadly now. If you go to the southwest, we still have issues of armed robbery and kidnapping, and in the south, the story is the same. That of the southeast, to me, it is also an insurgency because they are separatists who are looking to disrespect or to they don't recognize the government and they want to break away. Now, this is a situation in each of our localities. We have challenges, and at federal level, we've developed a lot of strategies towards mitigating these issues. But we don't get the maximum cooperation that we are supposed to get from the state, at the state level. And we believe the secretaries to the state governments should be conscious of security in their state, because when they are able to galvanize all the stakeholders and different structures that are there that can enhance the security of their state, will have relative peace in terms of insecurity. Because if the secretaries of the state governments are not coordinating activities within the state in this area, I don't think there's anybody that can do. You don't need to wait for state security council meeting that is called for. Some governors don't even call for it at all. Some call it once a month, some they don't care. So, but the secretary to the state government should be able, either on weekly basis or monthly basis, summon stakeholders to discuss issues bordering on security of their states. At the federal government level, we have realized that policing should come from the grassroots. States, I mean, wards, districts, villages, and towns should participate in fighting insecurity within the locality. That's why the federal government came up with community policing strategy. And this community policing strategy, as we're implementing it, we want the secretaries to the governments of each state to be fully involved in it, because they are the ones to guide the government of the states on the implementations and the challenges that are associated with it, so that the people trained to work within the communities, benefits is being derived from they are being trained and deployed. We have already worked with the state governments. We asked them to give us, which all state governments did, except about 4. We asked them to go to their wards, their districts, their villages, and towns. And this structure constitute both local government structure and state structure. Individuals were selected, individuals that were born and they grew up within the uh, district, within the villages, and within the towns. Through the state government, we got this list and we trained them and kitted them as community policing officers, and we deployed them back to the villages where they came from, to the wards where they came from, and to the towns where they came from. The purpose is for them to prevent crime, to generate intelligence. All low-level crimes are to be dealt with this group of people. Now, this group of people are not supposed to be going to DPO or Commissioner of Police to be reporting um, security issues, especially low-level security issues. They are to report to a group. So a structure has been created in each local government and at the state level. In the local government, we have Community Policing Advisory Committee, where you have the chairman of the local government as the chairman of the committee, with traditional ruler being the co-chair. Then we have representatives of other security agencies and other stakeholders like town union representatives. We have youth representatives, market women representatives, other faith-based organizations that are represented. So this committee is supposed to deliberate on all security problems within the local government. If there is drug issue, problem of drug affecting the community, at least the community policing officers coming from the districts and the towns should be able to know those individuals that are involved in drug issues, and they report it to this committee. And this committee will deliberate on why is there too much drugs within their community. Who are the people that are bringing it? We know ourselves. If foreigners are bringing it, we can easily know. If it is within our children, we can easily know and then deal with it. So they deal with the security problems there. If it is rape issue or assault or theft, they deal with it. They don't need to go to DPO, the normal police station. So the community solve their problems, except if there is serious problem like felonious offenses, then they take to the DPO. At the state level, the same thing has been created to coordinate the activities of the local government community policing committee. At the state level, we have the chairman of the traditional council of the state, with the commissioner of police co-chairing. Then we have representatives from different components of the society also represented there, and they coordinate the activities of the community policing committees at the local government level. And at the end, they report to the governor the security situation in the state as it affects the rural areas. So we've trained about 18,360 community policing officers already, and we feel that the state governments have tremendous role to play, just like every other citizen of this country. As you know, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has given responsibility to every citizen to render assistance to appropriate to law enforcement agencies in the maintenance of law and order in their community. So everybody has to be brought on board. But who does the coordination? That is the emphasis. Who does the coordination in each state? The secretaries to the state governments have to do the coordination. Because if you leave it to the governor to be calling meetings all the time, there will be no meeting and there will be no coordination. So it is very important that you realize this. And then whatever structure you have in your state, I know some states have created other vigilante groups, and they created laws to back them. They cannot work in isolation from other security agencies. Therefore, the coordination again falls within the office of secretaries to the state government, which they must take that responsibilities. Funding of security is very expensive, and the federal government has been doing its own. The state governments have been also contributing because most state governments buy vehicles, they fuel the vehicles, and they even give allowance to security agencies. The traditional institutions are left out in terms of support to give intelligence that can support security agencies in performing their duties. I think funding should trickle down to the traditional institutions within the state or within the communities so that they can be part of the security architecture in supporting law enforcement agencies. And the community policing structure that I explained are already in the Police Act, the structure, so there is a legal backing for it. But it is also a structure that if you, in your own state, if you even modify it to adapt to your own peculiar environment, you can also create a law within the state to enhance the performance of the community policing structure in your state. You have had in this platform communal issues, communal clashes, but the state governments are supposed to, again, through the office of the secretaries to the state governments, to create early warning system that could be utilized to take care of communal crises that may evolve. If such early warning system is created when there's going to be any issue of chieftaincy title, farmer herders conflict, and so on and so forth, it can be identified early and then solution be found as quickly as possible. And the issue of good governance must be emphasized here because most of the criminals are coming from, just like what the Secretary to the Government of the Federation said, they are coming from our localities. So we know them in the sense that if you have a bandit, he's located within an area, and that area there's a kind of a government that takes care of that area. So if a bandit is within an area, maybe it's within a district, and that district belongs to a local government, and that local government invariably belongs to state. But if you ask the criminals, why are they into this criminality? Some of them will tell you for economic purposes. Why is it so? Because they don't have any alternative means of